I want to start by saying this is not a leadership talk. I wasn't raised on leadership frameworks. I wasn't trained in influence, power, or strategy. I was raised inside situations that forced me to learn what trust cost. What I want to offer you today is not advice, it's context. How can we, how do we learn to trust? My name is Anisa, and this is my Oxford Talk. I grew up in a home shaped by trauma. My father had lived through civil war and displacement. My mother was born in a refugee camp during World War II. Neither of them had a chance to heal before they had children. They survived, and survival became the culture of our household. There was volatility, there was fear, and there was violence. And over time, there was neglect. As a child, I learned very early that love could disappear without warning, authority could be dangerous, and safety was never permanent. When I was 12, I understood something very clearly. My mother had to leave my father. Not eventually, not someday, immediately. I couldn't have explained it at 12, but my body already knew what my mind did not have language for. The fight for power and control was raging in our home, and something was going to break. That moment, seeing reality before my parents could, inexplicitly changed me. Around the same time, my mother had finally gotten conditional permission from my father to start a business. He loaned her $10,000, and she started an international trading company. My mother had married at 19, and by 24 had 4 children. And now she had finally crafted a path for her independence. The first venture of this business was importing Persian rugs from Turkey and literally selling them out of the trunk of her car to affluent families in Nashville, Tennessee. Persian rugs are very heavy. I started helping her organize the inventory. My mother entrusted me to pick out what she could take on her sales calls. I decided the sizes and the colors and the patterns. I did not know it then. I was learning how people decide who to trust. My mother didn't plan for her business to just survive. She wanted it to thrive. So she began bidding on government contracts, and without any resistance, I became part of this world. At 12, 13, and 14, I helped her craft customized marketing materials. I cut images out of catalogs, covering the original branding with our company name, and copying them into sales presentations. I was building credibility before we even had permission, because I was excited by something I had never felt before. My freedom would be tied to her success. When I was 15, the business was growing. But my parents' marriage was now ending. My father left our family home. He took most of the furniture. He was angry that his children did not choose to go with him. My mother left the country for her first international business trip for 1 month. That would be the first of many. She asked my father to come back to babysit us. That lasted about 24 hours. Something I said, something teenage, something honest triggered him. My youngest brothers pulled him off of me. He left, he did not return, and that was the end of my childhood. There was no food in the house, no money, and no adults present. So I drove my mother's Lincoln Continental to the local bank. Again, I was 15, sitting in the drive-through lane of this bank, writing checks I knew would bounce. I asked the teller, please do not charge the insufficient fund fees. I told her my mother was overseas. I told her that she'd be back in a month. I told her she would make it right. I don't exactly remember what I said, only how I felt. Completely exposed. and calm at the same time. The moment stays with me to this day because it taught me something quietly profound. Systems do not run on rules alone. They run on human judgment. And trust is always personal. By my early 20s, I was running operations at my mother's company as the VP of Business Development. I never ended up finishing college. And one day, she said something that truly defined who we were now to each other. Do not call me mother anymore. You will call me Fatima. And to this day, I still call her Fatima. I was honored because it felt like a promotion. In March of 1990, my father was murdered. I was running errands on a beautiful day in Nashville when my brother called to tell me my father had been shot. I didn't believe him. Now I know I was going into shock. When I arrived at the family home that my father had moved back into with his new wife, it was chaos. Police and people I did not know. I stood in the garage, the same garage where 12 years earlier my mother and I had begun her business. I glanced into the kitchen where my father used to cook for us, and I understood something irreversible had happened. My father was dead. I was flooded with questions. Who did this? Why would anyone do this? Are we safe? And then, what did my father go through? How much did he suffer? Grief layered with fear and regret. I had not seen my father for 2 years. Regret is very heavy emotion to carry into mourning. 4 months after my father was murdered, the first Gulf War began. Our business had over $100 million in government contracts tied to Iraq. Overnight, sanctions stopped everything. The business I had known ceased. The future was unknown. The only reason we survived financially was the insurance money from my father's death. It seemed that one loss funded the survival of another. I know this is not a clean story, yet this is my truth. Grief, despair, nowhere to land. Work was the only trusted construct I had. However, eventually, Fatima told me she could no longer pay me. I had to figure something out. So I began my own business in 1992. At the time, there was no internet, no mission statement, just me. I asked a manufacturer in Asia if I could sell his product, which were cosmetic brushes, and I would pay him when I got paid. He said yes. This was never my dream. This was survival. Over the next decade, I built a business, a real company. I trusted people. I worked relentlessly. And then after 10 years of working together, my manufacturer, my partner, chose to betray me. I found out during a dinner in Italy, sitting across from a customer that I had nurtured for a year, was going to work directly with my partner. We finished the meal. It took 2 years to extract myself from that manufacturing partnership. 2 years of fear, rebuilding, and beating myself up for trusting so naively. So what did I do? I built my own manufacturing in Tianjin, China. I don't speak the language. I don't understand operations at this level, but I showed up. Over time, the business stabilized. At the same time, another partnership is ending. A marriage, another betrayal, another collapse. By 2006, I was exhausted. I had built something meaningful, and yet I was completely disassociated from myself. So literally, I had to stop. I stepped away from my business for almost 2 years. I was not well. So first, I just walked a lot. Then I started to read. I was teaching myself about my humanness, not about being productive in a traditional sense, not strategic, not result-oriented. Human. Finding a place in me that was safe, that I could trust. When I formally stepped back into the business, I was different. It was different. I did not want to prove anything to anyone anymore. I was seeking alignment. And that's when I began to understand what had always been guiding me. I did not want to build to dominate. I was building to create trust. I did not need control. I needed coherence. I know now why systems work. If people feel safe inside them, because I had had such little safety. I now have learned how rare and valued it is. Everything I do, everything I choose to create, is now quietly shaped by one question. Can this be trusted? By the people who make it, by the people who use it, by who I have to be to sustain it. These ongoing decisions to trust are not loud. It is not obvious. It is subtle. It is quiet. It has depth and wisdom, and it gives me purpose.